Hi, my name is Angel Reed. My student ID is E0058136. This video is for radiology and the VTHT program, and this is the fall semester of 2019. This is my preceptor, Dr. Kendra Chalimi, and we're going to do a little discussion about safety during radiology.
Okay, so first thing I guess we'll discuss radiation monitoring. Can you tell me what is the radiation monitoring device called?
It's called a dosimeter badge.
Okay. And how does it work, and how do we measure the radiation?
So there's different things that they use. Ways to do it is with Tengen. They measure it by that. The REMs and the rads is what they're looking at. And what it does is it differentiates between ionizing radiation that we are exposed to during the times that any of the staff members taking X-rays on a patient.
And then how do we obtain those readings?
We send them into a company that looks at them either annually or on a quarterly basis, just kind of depending on how much exposure we're getting and things like that.
And then when should it be worn?
It should be worn any time that the technician is taking X-rays on a patient.
Okay. And then where should it be worn?
So it's preferred that the badges that we have are actually chest badges, so right at the collar, right near the thyroid.
And then what is the MPD for veterinary staff annually?
So they don't want it to go over 5,000 MREMs, which is equivalent to 5 REMs.
Using the dosimetry report, show yourself interpreting the dosimetry reading for one team member. And then when you do that, explain each column and state the readings for those columns. And just make sure you zoom in on that, and then state if that person, what their MPD is for the year.
Okay. All right. So now I've got the book out, and what we're looking at here is we have the names for everybody in the clinic that has dosimeter badges. This right here is just going to be the employee ID number, how the company refers to each individual. Right here is just the type of badge that we have. These are the different badge numbers, and right here is where we're looking at how much exposure they've had, and they look at it per annual radiation exposure limits, and they're looking at deep exposure, eye, and shallow for each one. So you can see right here, current, we're going to use Sabina Sage, so we're just going to follow this right here. Currently her value is 24, 24, and 22. And then for the year to date, we're going to look at hers again, and it's 24, 24, and 22 again. And then her overall lifetime is 49, 48, and 45. And if you look over here, you can see that she falls within the means. She is good, so there's no concern for her to stop taking X-rays at this time or, seek further assistance.
So next we're going to be discussing general radiation safety. So list and explain 3 methods of restraint that we use in radiology.
Okay, well, we can use manual, so that's where we're restraining them, and normally we'd have on lead gloves to protect our appendages from any exposure to the primary beam. We do have physical, which means that we could actually use like sandbags
Okay, so next explain why no portion of any human, either shielded or unshielded, should be exposed to the primary beam itself.
In this video, I will be demonstrating how to do a craniocaudal projection on a feline radius and ulna. The first thing I'm going to do is put my patient's information into the program. Last name first. Patient ID. Okay, so now we're going to be requesting what view we want. This is actually going to be a forelimb. So what we're looking for right here is domestic forelimb. It's on a feline, so we're just going to come down here and find our shot that we want. And we're going to go ahead and start study. So from here, now we're going to be getting x-ray set up. Okay, so I will be measuring my patient at the mid shaft of the radius and ulna. So I'm getting about a 2. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is my technique extremity. We're going to do a mass of 5, and then I'm going to have a KVP of 46. So I'll go ahead and make for sure my machine is set. So 44 is as close as we're going to get. That's fine. And I need to log that into my book. I've got my cartridge. We don't have a bucky, so I'm going to be setting it underneath.
I know, crazy kid.
Oh, okay, so we do have it. We have it collimated to distal to the corpus and proximal to the elbow. Bring her a little bit.
Oh, no, pretty kid. It's okay. We're done.
All right, now we're going to send it over to the program. Okay, and we're going to find it right here. Okay, so now we're going to save it. So I'm going to be putting my patient's information into the program. So now that's set up, ready to go. I'm going to take my cartridge. Here. Okay, we'll be measuring our patient, who is obviously under general anesthesia. I'm going to be measuring the thickest part, so that's usually around the last rib, so I'm getting 15. So I'll see where that falls on my technique chart. So we're going to do a mass of 5. Okay, we measured 15, so we're going to do 72. And I just want to note we're still in our personal protective equipment. And then Jackie, you can get your gloves on and get my gloves on. So we're going to put them in the V trough just to make for sure that we're staying symmetrical, nothing's overlapping. I want my collimator to be starting at the thoracic inlet and then making its way down to the first lumbar to include my thorax, lungs, and chest. So my machine is set. She will be extending the legs cranially. I'll be extending the fourth limbs caudally. And I'm going to ask Jackie how it looks on her end since she's closer. Yeah. Does that look good? Yep. Okay. Go ahead and take it without turning the light back on. Okay, so now I'll be taking my cassette out. Okay, so now they're sent.
Yeah.
My patient's information into the X-ray program. And now I'm going to pick the correct cartridge, which my patient's small, so I'll be able to fit him on here. Move that down as needed. Okay, so that part's done. Okay. All right, so now we're going to measure our patient's pelvis so we can get the right measurements for him. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the thickest part of his pelvis. So I'm measuring about 9. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and write my patient's information in here, which today's the 12th, correct?
Yeah.
Modify my measurements. It's on my technique chart, so where my mass is going to be at 10. I'm going to come over here, and I see that it's going to be set at 60, actually for my KVP. So okay, so I've now wrote him into my radiology log. So now I'm going to set my machine. My machine's actually already set at 10 mass, so we're good there. So I'm just going to see how close I can get. And from here, now we'll be setting him up to actually take the x-ray. Okay, so now that we have our patient measurements into our x-ray machine, we're gowned up. I just want to remark that we don't have any cracks or anything in our x-ray vests or thyroid shields. We have our dosimeter badges in the proper place. We will be using some positioning aids like the V-trough that will help us get just better positioning. And then we have our tie gauze, so my helper can pull the arms, extend the arms cranially. And it's just going to help for diagnostics. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place our patient into the V-trough. And then he's going to need to be, Jackie, I'm going to move him as soon as we get him set up. Kind of hanging off like so. Okay, now whenever I'm collimating, what I'm looking for is I'm just making for sure that I'm slightly cranial to the ilium crest, and I just want to make for sure that both of my trochanters are in there and that it's just coming down a little caudally past my patellas. Okay, so now we've got everything. My midline is lined up, and what we're looking for here is I'm just going to be rotating my stifles medially. I want them as parallel as possible, bringing them down. See, he's a little bit crooked on my end. And then Jackie's going to be extending the legs cranially. Do you have to?
Then your chin.
Okay. Okay. And I didn't have my gloves on. All right, so now that my collimator is set up to where I want it to be a little bit past my ilium crest, so I'm going to reset that a little bit. Okay, and then I want it caudally a little bit past my patellas, and then I want the whole trough to be in there to make for sure that both trochanters are going to be in my view. So my assistant will be extending the arms cranially. I will be rotating the stifles medially, making for sure that stuff is parallel, like his stifles and his legs. Okay. So now that we've taken our x-ray, we're going to process it. Thank you. I'm gonna be labeling it. Okay, now we sent it. So now I'm gonna demonstrate how to find a patient in our system. I'm going to put in the patient's ID number, open exam, and I have pulled up my craniocaudal view of my patient for the doctor to look at.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kendra Chalemi at Fall Veterinary Services, and I am here to evaluate Angel Reed on her feedback for radiology. So first off, the assessment of her radiology skills, I feel like those are very good. All the radiographs that she has taken have been really good. She took original critiques and updated the way that she was taking the photos, and everything's looking great. We're able to get diagnostic images on the first view and not have to do retakes. So that has been really good. The only critique that I have for those final 4 radiographs are the VD was just slightly off of midline. However, that's being very particular, but in a dog with heart disease, it may be important. Strength, she does really well. She does really well handling the animals properly. She does really well talking with clients, thinking critically. Weaknesses, really, there aren't any weaknesses. Just that, like I said, that minor critique on the VD radiograph. And her knowledge has really progressed, especially in the background of radiology, knowing how the machine works, knowing about the badges and how the badges work and the way that the radiation moves. So we're really proud of her for that. So that is all I have to say today. Thank you.
Studies is I'm going to put the patient into the system, and I have this chart right here. I'm going to put in a thorax. We're going to be doing a BD thorax, and let's see, on our abdomen, lateral abdomen, and that should do it. Okay, so now we're ready. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out the appropriate cartridge for the size of my patient, and we're going to put it in the right way. So this way. Okay, so now just to show what we got together for our barium series, I have an assistant to help me. We have on our thyroid collars, we have on our x-ray vest, our dosimeter badges, and I have my barium. We have our gloves. I'm going to be wearing gloves while I administer the barium, but we have our x-ray gloves too, so we lessen the radiation that we get, the secondary radiation. And then I have my radiation log. So now I'm going to go ahead and record that in my radiology log. That's for his chest, and then I'll get my measurements for his abdomen, and for this I'm going to find the caudal end of the last rib. So we're basically measuring at the thickest part, and laterally this way. He's about 14 again, and VD he's going to be about 15. Okay, and then from here I'm going to set the machine. Okay, Okay, so now I'm gonna set my KVP and my mass, and my measurement chart shows the mass is going to be at 10. So I'm gonna find that setting, and then I need for my KVPs to be at 70. I'll just find that. Now it's time to administer our barium to the patient. This can get messy, so we're gonna have gloves on and a little towel just to catch any excess. Some of them like it, some of them don't. I have a 60 ml syringe and I filled it up halfway according to the amount that the doctor would like the patient to be given. We might not give all of it. It just kind of depends on how well he accepts it. So I'm just gonna prep my syringe, make for sure it's ready. I have my holder, holding my patient accordingly. I am gonna administer this slowly, trying to make for sure he does swallow it and doesn't spit it out. So I'll give him a little break. He's licking, so that indicates that he has swallowed it. So I'm just going to put it into the processor and we're going to wait for it to show up. Okay, so now I'm going to turn that this way. So, and then, let's see, I'm going to crop it.